Good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara here in the Storm Track 8 Weather Center. Glad you can join us right here on the News 8 Plus app, where we are tracking a broken line of some strong to severe thunderstorms well off to our west and southwest. It's kind of a waiting game right now, but we are anticipating that line, though broken, to make its way across our area as we head to the evening hours. Big difference, I would say, compared to yesterday is what we saw today temperature-wise. Not as hot, not as warm, not as humid, and the level of instability is not as high as what we saw around here yesterday. So things kind of will be downgraded a little bit compared to what we saw in hometowns well north of the Quad Cities yesterday. So that's kind of what we're looking at when it comes to this activity that's eventually going to be rolling on through. Let's fine-tune things a little bit, kind of looking at our weather impact alert from a time of 6 to 9 p.m. from west to east across eastern Iowa to eventually northwestern Illinois. And we are still looking at the possibility of all hazards in play: hail, damaging winds, very heavy rain, vivid lightning, and we can't even rule out some isolated tornadoes to go with it as well. Here's what we were talking about on newscast at 4 and even 5 o'clock. Here's our tornado watch. That covers all areas around eastern Iowa and along the river itself until around 9 p.m. Now, when we are usually on the outer edge, the right edge of this watch, that's an indication that we could be talking about these storms on average coming in, if everything is just right, around maybe 7:30 or even around 8 o'clock, I would say, just approaching the river at that time, and then making its way along the Illinois side, possibly as we get to about 9. So that's kind of our thinking here when it comes to this potential line that may be coming on through. Let's show you that line right now. And it certainly has been producing numerous amounts of severe thunderstorm and even a small handful of tornado warnings that we've been noticing across the area. And the storms that we're really focusing on for us individually are the ones that are along southern Iowa and even around northern Missouri. Those are the ones we're going to be keeping an eye on, see how long they'll be able to sustain themselves too. But if everything works out, we're talking about maybe around 7:30, possibly around 8 o'clock if the speed of these storms do not change. So that's kind of what we're looking at with those storms. We're noticing some individual cells located off to our north and west, but those have been primarily moving to the north and east, with the line itself moving very slowly eastward. So you can see that line that we're noticing here. In fact, we'll go ahead and kind of put a tracker on a part where areas around northern Jackson County, parts of maybe Joe Daviess County will actually be impacted. And I'm talking about right about this line right here. And if we kind of move this off toward the kind of the east-northeast, this is what we're anticipating with that line, okay? This has had a history of producing some vivid lightning, heavy rain, even a golf ball size hail that was briefly encountered just outside of Waterloo itself. So that's the line that we'll be watching. So in Galena, we're talking about 720, Monticello around 629, and let's not forget Dyersville at around 615. So that's one area of concern we have when it comes to that line that we see right there. We actually have been noticing, too, some showers and thunderstorms that have been popping up off to the east of us. And let's see if I go ahead and try and move this. Mainly some showers that we're noticing, of course, around Joe Daviess County. That's some good news. Kind of blossoming a little bit. Those may actually become thunderstorms as it makes its way into Wisconsin itself. And then we see another area of activity now making its way eastward, just now off toward just south of Rockford, where there could be a little bit of some rotation going on. It looks like just south and east of Mount Morris. That's that storm making its way off to the north and east. Let me see if I can actually get a kind of a query on this, because I did think I saw a little polygon that actually popped up right around Mount Morris. And doesn't seem like it wants to really do it for me. Let me see if I can pop this one up. There we go. And there's that warning out just for Byron, Illinois. That's until 6:15. So there may be a little bit of some rotation going on with that. And you can see it just probably just around Oregon itself. That's probably the activity that they're watching for a little brief spin up that may be going on. Otherwise, that's the closest area of severe weather that we see when it comes to our area pushing its way off to the northeast. Rest of the area is looking nice and quiet, but like I said, this is the area of concern with these broken line of severe thunderstorms that are taking place just west of Ottumwa and east of St. Joseph's, Missouri. Okay, so these are the storms that continue to make the way off toward the east-northeast. The question is, how much convective energy is going to be available for these storms once they do get here, like I said, between 7:30 or just after 8 o'clock. So that's the big concern that we see right there. You can see temperatures. I'm going to pop this up here. Temperatures today weren't in the low to mid 80s. No surprise about that. We had numbers really making their way in the 70s. Low, mid, even upper 70s that we've seen from north to south around the area. What we have been seeing too are those quiet skies, allowing the atmosphere to kind of destabilize itself. Already seeing some of that clearing around Muscatine, even around Mount Pleasant. So that's a concern for these storms that are coming in from the southwest, taking enough of that warmth and just enough of that humidity to sustain itself to at least allow these storms to reach just above severe limits. But we're kind of on the low impact side of seeing some of those storms that are going to be taking place. So let's go right to that future track. I know everyone is kind of curious, have there been any changes what we've been noticing on the future track itself? Well, of course, this is 6 p.m. We're already past that. But let's move this all the way to about 7:30. And this hasn't really changed all too much. I would say 7:30, 8 o'clock looks like a pretty legit time going into this evening. I'm kind of weighing it a bit more now, 8 o'clock, given the location of those storms to our south and also to our west. I'm going to move the clock all the way to about 9, and you can see how most of the storm activity is primarily making its way off to the east. But there are signs that, we could see certainly some severe weather. Fortunately, it may be getting ready to make its way out of our viewing area, but you can see the bending here. Anytime we see that on a computer model run, that may be an indication of some straight line winds coming down from the storm itself. So that's the concern that we see even around 9 o'clock as we make our way on the Illinois side. But quickly after that, and keep in mind, these storms are moving quickly around 50 miles an hour. Things are going to quiet down quite significantly as we go through the rest of the night into early tomorrow morning with generally some broken cloudiness around the area. So that's kind of what we see when it comes to that particular wave. The next wave that we have to keep an eye on that is still on track, we've been talking for days, is that last weather impact alert going into Friday evening. I do believe that this wave of activity is going to be much stronger, more intense than what we're dealing with come this evening. Why is that the case? Because temperatures are expected to be warmer. We are expected to see some more humid conditions. We're going to be seeing some really good shear. That's that change in wind speed with direction, with height, good helicity, which means a good rotation, good spin rate. That's going to allow these columns of air to rotate and produce maybe even supercell thunderstorms. All right. So that's our big concern when it comes to this area of activity going into about Friday evening. And let's go and show you that as we kind of race this clock to about maybe 5 o'clock, we'll say, come Friday evening. And that's the line that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Keep in mind, this is all being plowed by a very strong cold front. So you're going to see some tremendous lift along this cold front, and why we're concerned about a pretty good line of these strong to severe thunderstorms that may be going on across the area. As we get to about 7:30, you can see how pretty much this line begins to once again bend. I think this is going to be more of a high wind threat than anything when it comes to this particular line of storms that we see. But a good bending here may be indicative of seeing some straight line winds coming down from these thunderstorms. So the forecast by 7:30 shows that area of activity on the Illinois side, and then things really begin to calm down as we head into Friday night. And of course, that's going to lead to some much cooler weather heading into the upcoming weekend. And we're still looking at temperatures mainly in the 50s. We'll go with mid-50s going into Saturday, upper 50s on Sunday, and then we'll start warming up our temperatures once again going into next week. At least it's looking much calmer out there too, until we eventually bring back more wet weather heading later on in the week. But nothing as far as any severe weather I see. Chance of wet weather going to Thursday and Friday of next week. Unfortunately, there's a trend showing that the wet weather, at least a chance of that, will continue on as we head into that following weekend. So once again, weather impact alert still out going until from 6 o'clock for areas around eastern Iowa to as late as 9 o'clock for our hometowns east of the river itself. And that's the line that we're continuing to watch very carefully, especially this area right here where we believe that will impact really most of our viewing area by the time we get to about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And the red boxes that you see here, that's that tornado watch until around 9 p.m. We're on the east edge of that watch. So that once again gives us an idea that maybe around 8 o'clock, close to 9 is when this line will eventually come in. The question remains, will it still be intense enough to keep that severe weather threat going? We continue to see numerous severe thunderstorm warnings within this area, so that's something we'll be certainly tracking as we go through the next few hours. Any type of certainly warnings that do pop up in our viewing area, we're going to let you know right here on News 8 Plus. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you at 10 o'clock tonight.